Hi, everybody, and thanks for joining us today. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Scott Reidy from Primary Markets. Now, Primary Markets is Australia's only trading platform for unlisted companies. Our technology, we've been able to use and create an independent global platform to provide liquidity. We also assist in raising capital for companies in the unlisted space. Which brings me to what I'm doing here today. We're currently helping facilitate a pre-IPO capital raise for Neopharma Technologies. And I'm joined here today by their Executive Director, Shaun Melville, and their Executive Chairman, Marcus Lestrange. And also, just quickly, guys, sorry, at the end of the webinar, if you do have any questions that haven't been answered, please just respond to Shaun and Marcus, and they'll get back to you today. But how are you today, gents?
Very well, Scott. Very well.
Yeah, very well. Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks for being here. Now, we'll jump straight in, but Neopharma they're looking at being recognized as a global leader in a massive growing market of the $33 billion medical devices technology space, rapid test markets. And they've got a bunch of innovative rapid tests for drugs of abuse, infectious disease, pregnancies, STI, UTI, and even COVID testing. Do you want to just tell the audience a little brief overview of the company?
Yeah, Marcus, did you want to jump in there and lead in, or you want me to?
Yeah, sure. I guess Neopharma Technologies is an Australian public unlisted company. We're looking to list later this year. And probably our main service offering is a drugs of abuse testing product and service. So we have a disruptive technology in a 3-chamber drug testing cup that we call Tampalox, and it's paired with a technology platform that's quite unique in the industry that is able to record results in real time and instantly into the cloud so that those results can't be tampered with, which is quite a large problem in the industry. This platform overcomes. So initially we were looking at just the drugs of abuse, but the platform we have expanded to include a range of rapid tests, as you've mentioned, that cover a range of drug testing products, as well as those other ones you've mentioned there. Yep.
Okay, excellent. Thanks very much for that, Marcus. You started to go on, and I think I also mentioned the range of products that you guys have on offer. Are you able to tell us a bit more about that range of products and the IP for them, or?
Yeah, I can probably jump in there. So I suppose leading product is Tampalox. So this is a US utility patented product. We've got actually not only US, but it's actually globally patented in Europe under the Madrid Protocol, in Australia and Malaysia as well. And yeah, I suppose it's our crown jewel in many respects, because it's the only 3-chamber drug testing device, urine drug testing device on the market. Coupled with that, we've actually got another range of products as well called our NEO test range. We've just recently received our US registrations, trademarks for NEO test, myNEO, NEO test K+. And yeah, I suppose in terms of our differentiating range, our Tampalox device is mainly used for sort of, I suppose in terms of the industry verticals, mainly supported for government-based contracts, so for police, military, Department of Transport testing, and it's really going to position itself as the sort of the benchmark for that testing. But what we also recognized with our company is that we wanted to come into the global market with also another range of other drug tests. So we've also got a split cup, a single chamber, a device, and a dip card, which addresses different industry verticals as well, but all have global applications. So they're predominantly our main drug testing products. And then we're going through a registration process for 2 other products as well, a nasal COVID test and a saliva COVID test for European market access. Though COVID is obviously a declining market, and obviously everyone's a bit COVID fatigued at the moment, it's still built a brand for itself, and it's still, I suppose, positioned itself with our sort of technology stack, is that we're looking to add value through our AI image recognition technology through that. So yeah, I suppose in terms of the products that we're looking to bring on the market, we're predominantly in drug testing and COVID testing, but now we're expanding our range into pregnancy and sexually transmitted disease. This industry sector is obviously growing substantially, so it's something that we're looking to add value and support not only our range of products and our other design patents that we've got in Australia for our innovative drug tests. Yeah, that's something we're looking to take to market.
Yeah, okay, awesome. So yeah, look, you certainly have a lot of products on offer. In the current environment, obviously a lot of these ones need some sort of regulatory approvals. How's that going? How's the status of all of those? Are they all approved? Can you talk a bit about that?
Yeah, so currently Tamplox is approved in Malaysia and Indonesia. We're currently doing our lab verification studies for the Australian market access to get this approved. So we're expected to achieve that within the next 8 weeks. For our NEO test drug testing range, which consists of 3 products for the US market, which is our split cup, our single chamber drug test, and our dip card, we expect to have US market access or US FDA approval within 4 to 6 weeks. I suppose how we've differentiated ourselves is that we've currently worked with 4 manufacturing partners. We have our own manufacturing base in Malaysia, where we produce Tamplox, and we're currently going through a US FDA approval with Tamplox with a company called WHPM. So they are based in China and also in the US. So that particular product, we're looking to have registrations in May, June, but our first release will be our split cup, our urine single chamber cup and dip card for the US market with one of our other manufacturers who currently produce about 2 billion rapid tests over the last sort of 3 years. Thermo Scientific is also a major client of theirs. So yeah, that's probably our first major access to the market, not only the US, but also in Europe as well. So we're going for our CE approval simultaneously with that manufacturer as well. And they're supporting us purely on the basis of obviously where we're positioned in the market with our unique, I suppose, technology stack, which is our enterprise resource management platform called NEOVAULT. That's what we're looking to do, which is more focused on a workplace best practice to add value to organizations in the treatment and tracking of not only drug test results, but all health test data.
I might add to that, just with regards to FDA approval, because the largest market, particularly for drug testing, is in the US, and a lot of particularly Australian listed companies have tried and failed in getting those FDA approvals. So that's usually where the largest amount of risk sit with any medical device company. Now, we've come up with a strategy to really mitigate a lot of that risk, and that is we're not starting that whole FDA medical device approval from scratch, whereby it costs about $500,000 US. You've got to do clinical trials, 240 people via hospitals and the like, and it can take 6 months to a year, and then there's no guarantee that you get the results you want to get the FDA approval. Instead, what we've done, we're partnering with a couple of different manufacturers who already have FDA certification in place. An example is for the Tamplox cup. The manufacturer of our test strips is a US-based company called WHPM Inc. And they already have FDA approval on their test strips. However, when we looked into getting FDA approval on our medical device, because we were manufacturing it in Asia and then using test strips from another company and then marketing under Neopharma with all those different entities involved, they wanted to start the FDA approval process from scratch. What we realized was that by partnering with WHPM, if we got them to do the manufacturing of the cup as well as the test strips, it can then be a device that comes in under their FDA approval. So we eliminate that long, lengthy and costly process of getting FDA approval, and we're really just adding to list an existing FDA approval. We've met with the CEO of WHPM. He loved our product and realized that it was pretty much the Rolls-Royce of drug testing, and they pride themselves on having the most accurate drug tests on the market at the moment with their testing strips, and saw that the added benefits of all of the things we've done to close the loopholes and stop the tampering of test results will make this very attractive to a lot of clients. And not only that, but I think the US is really the market to launch it properly. They don't mind paying a little bit extra to have a result that can't be challenged in court. Obviously, they're quite litigious, and they would prefer to spend a little bit more money up front and not have the results be able to be challenged in court. Similarly, with the other range of products outside of Tampalox, one of our other companies that we're dealing with, we're essentially white labeling their products that are already FDA approved. And we're just having to go through the process of showing the FDA the repackaging and rebranding of those products. But the real point of difference that we're adding to those products to make it more competitive in the market is adding the compatibility with our IT platform that automatically records all of these results.
Beautiful. Thanks for that, Marcus and Shaun. It sounds like the FDA approval process is going to be soon and looks imminent, really. And I suppose that leads into my next question, which was going to be around markets. But I suppose with going into the US, it's clear that you mentioned that they have the biggest value over there. What kind of industry sectors is the products looking at addressing?
I think while a lot of people know of drug testing with regards to athletes and sports, by far the largest market in drug testing is the pre-employment drug testing market. So that's really what we will be targeting. And that includes mining, construction, oil and gas, military, aviation, even in prisons as well. That's not so much pre-employment. There's a lot of drug testing that goes on there. So we've got two main streams we're looking at, and that is government departments and anything connected to those government departments, military, police, jails, the like, and then in the private sector, all of those different verticals being mining, oil and gas, construction and the like. It's a huge market, and we're not trying to, crack into those markets off our own bat, where our business model very much involves partnering with distribution groups in the different regions that have established networks within those verticals. And we've already signed up contracts with several distributors, and they're all pretty much ready to hit the ground running as soon as the FDA approvals come in.
Yeah, okay, excellent. Thank you very much for that, Marcus. Now, with FDA approval imminent, I suppose, have you organised any sort of distribution agreements with the plan to, I suppose, start distributing?
Yeah, Shaun, I'll let you speak to that.
Yeah, we have. We've got appointed distributors in Australia and the US markets. So side by side, obviously in alignment with our regulatory approval expectation timeline, we've already implemented our sort of go-to-market strategy. So with some of our NEO test range products, they are clear waived, which means that we can actually go into the retail market, and they've got access to Walmart, obviously strong relationships in through Amazon as well as Target. So we've got a retail channel for our NEO test range, and similarly so in terms of their distribution in through the government and I suppose corporate networks is very strong. So their strategic partner base is pretty deep. So they'll be issuing a commercial order based on our approvals. So we'll hit the market running. As soon as we have approvals, we'll be hitting the market there. Marcus and I will be in for one of the leading drug testing conferences in May into the US. So yeah, all of it sort of aligns with distribution agreements in place there. Really, our model is what we're looking to do is for the Australian and US markets, we have distribution agreements in place. But really, in various markets, and I won't discount Europe as well, there's 27 countries in the EU. We're looking to have, in terms of the viability of drug testing, mainly being our focus in terms of the business, there's about 10 countries there that we're looking to individually appoint local distributors for. And we have a model that we've replicated across other distributors as well, which will encompass them having exclusivity based on minimum KPIs. So placing a commercial order, a 40-foot container of our product at year 1, and then escalating year 2, year 3. So we've basically mapped out in terms of our commercialization strategy. So once we have approvals in place, we can grow very aggressively in terms of penetrating those markets. Not only in the US and Australia, but also for Malaysia as well. All our product ranges that we're doing are also currently going through MDA approval, which is the Medical Device Authority in Malaysia. So Southeast Asia is also an emerging market for drug testing. And we've also signed an MOU with a company out of Saudi Arabia as well, looking to open up the Middle Eastern market. They've got very, I suppose, stringent protocols regarding drugs and alcohol in the Middle East. And it's a market that's rapidly growing. So we're looking to really get in that, and that will be off the back of our CE approvals that they will be able to then register our products in that country in Saudi Arabia, and also looking at Dubai. So really, I suppose the market opportunity for us, we're very much a global-based company. We've got our subsidiaries in Malaysia and set up a US subsidiary as well as our headco as a public unlisted company in Australia. But really, I suppose the unique value proposition for what we're looking to do with our company is getting back in terms of US market access, mainly because majority of the diagnostic companies in Australia that are listed have failed that. And we've navigated a pathway through to achieve that. And through that, we can access the largest market in the world for our products.
I should just add there that we already do have the medical device approvals for Tampalox in Malaysia and Indonesia, but we're currently undergoing the MDA approvals for the rest of the range of our products. Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks again, Shaun and Marcus. Now, we are having a few questions coming through, but I just thought I'd let everyone know that we will get to them at the end of the session. But anyway, apart from the medical devices, you've also got the other side of it where you've got the supporting technology. Can you just explain a little bit the significance of the myNEO, the NEOVAULT, and the AI it uses?
Yeah, sure. So that is really our main point of difference with any other of our potential competitors in the market is this IT platform. So it's in 2 parts. That the main platform we're calling NEOVAULT, and then there's a smartphone app that we're calling myNEO. Now, essentially what you do, you use your smartphone, you take a picture of the results in the field, and those results are instantly recorded via the cloud into the main IT platform being NEOVAULT, which sits with the client. In doing it, not only does it record the drug test results, it also records all of the donors' data, all their ID and everything. You take pictures of whatever ID is relevant in that country. So what this does is really eliminate it does 2 things. It eliminates the potential for the tampering of that data, but it also eliminates the possibility of human error, which currently all of these drug test results are being recorded manually on bits of paper, and those bits of paper then get passed around and can be lost or tampered with. So really, again, like we're talking about the litigious nature in the US, if we can close these loopholes where no one can argue that result wasn't the result that was actually recorded on the day, because it's time stamped, it's got a geolocation on it via the phone, and it's recorded instantly. So I think there's also that part of it, the recording of the results. But the other very important part of this platform is it provides a full chain of custody on the medical device, right from the manufacturer through to being supplied to the client supplying it to its tester, the test in the field, and also what happens to it after that. If there is a positive result, it's called A and B sample. So the A sample is the test that's done in the field. If there's a positive result with the A sample, it's then sent to a laboratory for the confirmation result, and the confirmation, and that's the B sample, and it's the B sample tested at the laboratory that if it tests positive, it can get the athlete suspended or the employee suspended. So again, closing down any possible challenge to those results, it provides a full chain of custody of that medical device all the way through its life cycle. There's obviously, most people would be aware of Russia being kicked out of the Winter Olympics. What had happened there was a lot of positive results in the A sample in the field, but then pretty much all of those, by the time they were tested in the laboratory, they were all coming up negative. So essentially what was happening there was the tainted urine was being swapped out with a clean cup of urine by the time it got to the lab, and they were testing negative. Now, that was picked up because that's just statistically impossible to happen across hundreds of thousands of samples, all having the same thing going from positive to negative. However, that would never be able to happen if our system was being used with the full chain of custody. But not only that, I guess just going back to our Tampelox cup, the current way of testing A sample and B samples is by using two physical cups and labeling 1A and 1B. With our Tampelox device, we eliminate the need for two cups. We have one cup, and the A sample and the B sample are in the same cup, so that it can't be swapped, it physically can't be swapped out for a clean cup. So.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks, Marcus. I suppose a bit of a follow-on question from my previous one. What kind of measures are Neopharma putting in place to protect, all the data, people's, personal health data when it goes, is sent to the cloud? What's in place for that?
Yeah, that's a good question, Scott, particularly with some of the recent things we've seen with Optus and Medicare and people's the data being leaked into the dark web. We currently just completing, we're getting our whole IT platform certified for ISO 27001, HIPAA and ESA SOC 2, which is the highest international standard for cybersecurity. Now, it's amazing how many IT platforms are out there that don't have this, but we've been working for over 6 months to get all of our systems compliant, and we're about to go through that audit. But we've engaged a group out of the US called Secure Frame that basically walks us right through the process and goes right through our systems and advises us on all of the changes we need to make to bring it up to the highest level of international compliance for cybersecurity. So I guess that is one of the things that we really do pride ourselves on. It is the amount of security that is surrounding our whole data collection process and data storage process.
Excellent, thanks. And I suppose, being that a lot of your sectors that you guys are aiming for being, defense, you'd need that kind of security in place. So, that's great to hear. What kind of business model differentiates you guys from other listed diagnostic companies?
I might lead in with that, Marcus. So I suppose one of the biggest challenges, and after a lot of investigation over the last number of years and seeing some of the failures that some of the diagnostic companies have done, but majority of the failures to date have been the fact that they built their own manufacturing facility, and they've done that without having US FDA approval. And then what ends up happening is that they've got a massive headcount. They've spent millions and millions of dollars in terms of building this facility, and then they've been knocked back with US FDA, which has completely disrupted their model. So that's one example. A lot of the others as well, in terms of how they've approached the market, is that they've gone about it trying to do their own US FDA approvals themselves. So they haven't had the regulatory team at that level that have actually had a proven level of experience. So I suppose what clearly differentiates our model is that we've developed our own technology, we've got our own US patents, but we're not naive enough to think that we can do it end to end. So what we have done is partnered with well-respected manufacturers that have proven experience with US FDA. In the example of Tampelox, we built our own hard mold, we're protected with US patents, we're protected with our trademarks, but effectively we are working with them to manufacture our product, doing their own internal clinical evaluation based on the fact that they've already got their approvals for the other range of products that are in our test strips. So what we've done is basically found a pathway that is probably the biggest de-risking situation for any investor to look into this. What it also enables us to do is scale up and scale down very fast. So by working with WHBM for our Tampelox product, NEO tests with a company called Helgen, very large scale manufacturers, but what we can do is we're utilizing their team in terms of their regulatory experience. So they've proven experience of getting approvals for their range of test kits. They've got the scalability because these companies have got significant manpower. So they can scale up and scale down with us depending on the commercial orders and the size of the commercial orders, and we can ramp up or decrease quickly to meet the market demand. The issue that you have is if you're running your own manufacturing facility is that if your product doesn't sell to the expectations, even if one of these companies in Australia got US FDA approval, they're still obviously putting their own manpower in place, which is massive overheads for the company. The issue is if the market demand then obviously it falls, they're stuck with hundreds of staff that they have to make redundant, which causes another massive problem. So I suppose that our innovation is that we're very much focused on developing our own technologies and also add in complementary technologies that are proven in the market that are being sold, and coupling that with our point of difference with our technology stack. What that actually means for shareholders is when we go to listing is that our overheads are kept at a very bare minimum because we're effectively outsourcing our manufacturing, we're outsourcing our distribution, and really it's just the corporate and compliance and our own internal core team that manages everything. So as we expand to various markets and the revenue starts to gain momentum, we're in a position to be able to build a business model that can pay dividends, which I think for a lot of medical device companies that are attempting this market don't see profitability for the next 3 to 5 years. We're confident with our US FDA approvals, our European market access, and our low overheads, we can be profitable in year one. So we can be coming into the market very aggressive in terms of increasing our manufacturing capacity with adding to our hard molds for tamper locks, and then obviously aggressive sort of marketing strategy in terms of getting our brand positioning to a point where we can look to take market share in this industry sector, but do it with a head count that's far fewer than any other company out there. And I think in this world today, I think what we've tried to do is disrupt the current business model that has been established for a very long time, where you need massive amounts of staff, you need your own massive sales teams internally to do this. You don't actually need to do that if you find the right distributors, and that's the skill in finding the right distributors, but meeting their minimum KPIs. And if they don't meet their minimum KPIs, they lose their exclusivity, but they can maintain their distribution. So I think our strategy and business model is very disruptive in this particular space, and I think it makes it very valuable for any investor currently looking at our company.
And I'll just add to that as well. I think we, because of that very lean model, we'll probably, we're not expecting to have to carry out ongoing capital raises once we're listed, unless there's, a very juicy acquisition to be had or something like that. But under the general operational business model, we'd probably be raising up to around 8 million at the IPO listing. Thereafter, there really won't be a need for any further capital raises, and therefore no further dilution after it's listed, we hope. We have worked very hard to keep a very tight share register, and we're looking at going to listing with about a circa 100 million shares on issue, which if you compare it to many other listed meditech companies, that is a really small amount of shares. So again, Shaun alluded to it, but if we have constantly increasing revenue streams as we grow the business, but without a constantly equivalent increasing in overheads, we should get more and more profitability that we're able to distribute via quite healthy dividends to our shareholders.
Beautiful. Thanks, Shaun, again, and Marcus. I suppose you both kind of touched on it, but the value proposition for investors. Do you want to just touch on that a little bit more? And you mentioned dividends. Do you want to just explain that a bit further?
Yeah. Well, it's not set in stone yet, but given that we're not really going to have major growing overheads, we're not planning to really grow our staff and our team globally significantly at all. It's really via that model we just take on more and more distributors. Yeah, we are looking at having very healthy dividends, and we're looking up to about 25% dividends, which it's pretty much unheard of in the market, but we just don't anticipate that we'll need to apply funds to our own internal growth. Obviously, we will keep producing hard molds. We'll keep doing R&D on new products. But yeah, we won't be growing our team significantly post-listing. And yeah, we are hoping to provide very healthy dividends.
And I think it comes back to the point, I'll just jump in there, Marcus, is that the relationships we built at CEO level with various manufacturers and obviously with our distributors as well is really that top-down approach and really utilizing their team's experience. So just to give you an example, this US FDA system, if we had done this internally ourselves, we would have needed at least probably 30, 40 staff to keep up with the amount of work that was required. We've got a core team of 2 personnel on the regulatory and manufacturing side, but we're utilizing effectively the team of these manufacturers that are quite significant, quite large. You know, some of these teams are about 50 personnel. So they're all working busily to help us and assist us get these approvals. So we've definitely not only mitigated the risk in terms of getting the approvals done, but secondly, we're utilizing the human resource of them. And the reason why we've been able to sell them on the basis for helping support us is mainly because of our technology stack. They see us as not just a company that's just white labeling one of their products. I'm referring to our NEO test range now. They're seeing us as a company that's coming in with a disruptive technology that they think can get further market share and help support them, not go necessarily head to head to them in the market, and really add further value. And as a result of that, they're working with us very collaboratively to be able to do this. So, you know, it's our, Marcus and I's, you know, main I suppose vision is to keep a very lean model going forward and to maximize return for shareholders. And this is obviously going to be very good for self-managed super funds or any investor or even retirees that are looking for to secure that ongoing income and revenue. Not to say that we're not going to be growing this company and we're still investing in our R&D, but I want to go to the market with 2 main things: US market access, and especially our enterprise resource management platform with obviously all the compliance that we've tied down in terms of SOC 2, ISO certification, but also our AI image recognition technology, which effectively will interpret the drug test results, not only for drug tests, but we're talking about extrapolating that out not only beyond COVID, but, you know, pregnancy tests as well, giving basically the user or end user 100%, you know, or 99.9% verification that they've read the results correctly. Because there is a lot of misinformation in terms of when you do things manually, but the AI algorithms that we're now working with in large sets of data in terms of drug test strips really eliminates that risk that getting that wrong. So they're the 2 main things we're going to market. And the reason why we're doing that is that we've seen the plethora of other diagnostic companies go to market, and they've done it on a good story, but they haven't had those approvals in place. They haven't had the AI technology that we do. So we are definitely a point of difference in this industry sector.
Mm-hmm. Thanks again, guys. You've both mentioned throughout today the plans of listing via an IPO this year. I think you said. How is that process going? How's the planning going? Where are you up to in it?
Yeah, it's going quite well. Towards the end of last year, we formed a listing committee with lawyers and chartered accountants and the like, and we've been working closely with them to start preparing the prospectus. As Shaun had mentioned before, the trigger for our IPO was always going to be a major commercial event, which now looks like being the US market entry off the back of FDA approvals over the next few months. And at that point, once we're getting real points on the board with sales in the US, we'll push the button on going to listing. In preparation for that, in addition to having put that listing committee together, we've also got several network groups on board. We've got On Market, Venture Crowd, Raptor Global Corporation, and now yourselves. All of those previous groups have all expressed a great interest to support it at listing. At the moment, we haven't appointed a lead broker. We've had some initial discussions, and we sort of have a preference of who we will want to go with, but however, we've held off those initial discussions basically, and it's a fair call, come back when you're commercialized.
Yeah.
And I'm quite comfortable with that as well, because as Shaun has mentioned, there's been a few companies that have gone to listing and got listed on the stock exchange with a story of getting FDA approvals, then they've failed to do that, and they've lost 70% of their market cap on those failures. So we're trying to do the reverse, come into the listing with those FDA approvals in place, and hopefully it's sort of upside from there.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you. I suppose as we get towards the end of this session, before I hand over to the questions that have come through, did either of you have any last statements you'd like to make, or we can jump into the questions?
I'm okay, Shaun.
Yeah, no, go ahead. I was just reading the Q&As at the moment, so sorry about that. But
we had a few come through. One being, what's the valuation of the company at this pre-IPO stage for the raise?
Marcus, you probably have the last capital structure. Well, it's about 22 million, is it? Current market cap?
Oh, that's a good question. I'll pull it up as we speak.
It's a moving feast because we're in the middle of a capital raising, so it's but it wouldn't vary too much, I wouldn't think, from that.
I suppose this one's while you're getting that, Marcus, this one's a bit of a follow-up question, I guess. But what do you think the company will be valued at IPO, and I suppose what kind of milestones need to be achieved by yourselves before then?
Yeah, so I can speak to that. So I think definitely US market access, not only for our NEO test range, which will happen, we're very confident 4 to 6 weeks. That's been the guidance of our manufacturer as well with their FDA regulatory team. But Tampalox, which is going to take a little bit longer because we're doing the clinical validation studies with WHPM internally, which will happen in probably May to June. In terms of that's the timing, but in terms of obviously going to market with those US FDA is very important. In terms of the commercial orders, so in Australia, we have a distributor that has shown, I suppose, a pipeline of orders of 100,000 units per month across our saliva and urine drug test. So we expect the Australian validation studies to be completed within the next 8 weeks, which will basically give us market access to that. So in terms of revenue, that's around about $7.2 million worth of gross revenue coming into that. And that's just the Australian market. In terms of the US, obviously our team's going to place a commercial order that will come off the back of that. But I would probably like to say that we would love to go to IPO with at least 500,000 units already confirmed, but with an aggressive growth strategy beyond that. Because like with anything, especially when we're doing manufacturing runs, it's important that we have our samples in the market as well to iron out any little kinks, whether it's a labeling issue or anything, before we take on those massive orders. I think one thing I've learned also in this industry is that we're ready to run, but you still have to walk before you can run. And that's why we're going to IPO. Otherwise, we would keep this company completely private and take in venture capital, and that would be an option. But I think we've always been of the view that with our technology and our regulatory approvals, that even in a challenging market, we can still be a shining light. And I think we would love to see this company really get the recognition of all the hard work that's been put into it over the number of years, and we're ready to take off. So I think in terms of getting to IPO, it's very much those US FDA approvals and obviously commercial orders that come off the back of that. But I think we're very close. I think we'll probably even get the IPO funding away just with the US FDA approvals, but we want to be coming in with some revenue, obviously coming into it as well. But yes, we're a global market. This is, for drugs of abuse, it's a growing about 6.5 billion USD market currently. But across our whole rapid range of test kits, we're looking at 33 billion. And, in terms of an addressable market, it's quite sizable. We could never necessarily attack some of the largest players like Abbott, which acquired Alea, or, even Siemens, or any of those major ones, if we didn't have the manufacturing relationships we've got in place to be able to scale up and scale down as required. So yeah, in terms of valuation, I think, we would be very disappointed if we didn't have 100 million market cap in the next 12 months. And we'd like to be going to IPO, I think, at between 40 and 50 million. And obviously that will be at the discretion and discussion with the broker as well, in terms of how we're pricing it. And will largely be on the basis of what milestones have been hit and how far have we de-risked this opportunity for investors coming through. But the story is pretty robust. But it's not just the story, it's all our approvals, it's our IP, it's our trademarks, it's our technology stack, it's our AI. There's a full package here that's been built over a number of years to go to market aggressively and really make an impact.
Yeah, and Shaun was correct. That is, it does have a current market cap of 22.1 million, and with about 73.6 million shares on issue. The other thing that we had done rough back of the envelope sort of calculations for is that we believe about 300,000 units a year, that's just of Tampalox, will be a break-even point for the company. And as Shaun mentioned, we're looking at going well over 500,000 units in the first year.
All right, beautiful. Well, just conscious of time, don't want to go for too long. I think we have time for one more question that's come through. What kind of costs are associated with manufacturing, and how does that compare with other people in the market?
Yeah, so in terms of our costs, for one of the reasons we partnered with our Helgen in terms of NEO test range is they probably have the most competitive drug testing cost price. I've got to be careful, I can't actually disclose what that is, but it is probably the most aggressively priced manufacturing that's available. And we're coming in there obviously with a unique technology stack and making a product that's different and robust. So yeah, very competitive. The margins are significant for this industry sector. Tampalox is a little bit higher, obviously, because it's the Rolls Royce, as Marcus said. So our market positioning in terms of this product will be on par or slightly below what our main competitor's product is. So Abbott have a range of drug tests that are in the premium range. They don't have a technology platform that's integrated fully like us. And they've got a 2-chamber sort of split cup device there. But our price point will be pretty much going head to head with theirs. Same price point, but we're coming in with our technology as a value add. So, and they're, the margins are sizable for that for our Tampalox product, but we've also de-risked it with the range of products as well, in terms of ensuring that our margins are there. But this game is still a volume-based business, so we need to be competitive. We know we can't go to market with completely above the market, but we will position in terms of our pricing strategy based on the various markets around the world. In Southeast Asia, most of the products that will be of interest will be mainly the dip card. It's a far messier process, but a far cheaper product for government organizations that are not interested in all the bells and whistles. For Europe and for the US, and where like established Western cultures in Australia, obviously paying a slight premium is not an issue, because they want the best and they want to ensure that the integrity of these results are kept to the maximum.
Yeah, excellent. Thanks again, Shaun. And look, I think we'll probably wrap this session up just due to time. But thank you both so much, Shaun and Marcus, for being here today. It was a very informative session. And for anyone that is interested in getting involved in Neopharma, please reach out to myself, Shaun, or Marcus, or if you want to book in any one-on-one sessions, they're more than happy to oblige to that as well. So, but thanks again, guys.
Thank you very much, Scott. Yeah, and thanks everyone.
Appreciate it.
See you later, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.